This whole ban the burka thing is a minefield, and it's one that we should be very wary of stomping our way into. I think what we have here is a basic clash of freedoms. The freedom of people to express their religion, or the freedom to wear what they want, versus the freedom of other people to be safe and treated equally whilst going about their day-to-day lives. I think we need to focus on the latter. To approach this from the angle of protecting women's rights isn't going to work. If a woman is dominated by the men in her family to the point of terror, and the number of honour killings in Europe is testament to this often being the case, then it's not going to be difficult to coerce her into complying with her husband's wishes and say, "I want to wear the burqa, it's my choice." Like the old joke about the devout Christian on the roof of his house during a flood, there's only so much help that you can offer. You can't force people to take it. Women's rights and religion in general don't mix, and this is an example of where you're going to have real difficulty drawing the line if you take that approach. Let's say we ban the burqa, but is the headscarf okay? And how much of the head and face is allowed to be covered before it breaks the law, before it becomes oppression? What about other religions and their oppression of women? Do we ban Orthodox Jewish women from shaving their heads and wearing wigs? Do we ban the wearing of the cross, since this is a symbol of Catholic oppression of women? Don't mistake this for a slippery slope argument. It isn't. I'm not saying that one thing inevitably leads to the next. I'm asking, where do you draw the line? The whole point of living in a secular democracy, for me at least, is freedom from religious oppression. And that means that people should be free to practice their religion too. What concerns me about the concessions we make for religious belief is how it always tips the scales in favour of those who are religious. Recently, the appalling Cherry Booth, wife of the equally appalling Tony Blair, gave a man a lighter sentence after he'd broken another person's jaw, simply because, and I quote, "You are a religious man, and you know this is not acceptable behaviour." Somehow ignoring the fact that being a religious man and knowing that this wasn't acceptable didn't actually stop him from physically attacking another person and breaking one of their bones in the first place, hence the reason he was standing before her for sentencing. I think we should look at the wearing of the burqa and other religious symbols not in terms of religious freedom, but in terms of safety and equal treatment of people in a secular democracy. I object to the idea that people's religious beliefs should make them exempt from certain laws. And one example of this being the legality of Sikhs not to wear a crash helmet when riding a motorcycle. Everyone else in this country is required by law to wear a safety helmet whilst riding a motorcycle. Exemption on religious grounds is discriminatory and it's unfair. And I say it's the same with the burqa. If someone wants to wear the burqa when walking down the street, then what impact does that have on the rest of us? I say probably none. People should be able to wear whatever makes them feel comfortable. However, when it comes to the law, I don't believe that wearing something which obscures your vision is acceptable when you're driving. Try driving down the road past a police car wearing a sack over your head or wearing any kind of mask. I expect that you won't make it very far before you're stopped. Try walking into a public building, like a government building, or a shopping centre, or the London Underground, wearing a ski mask, or a motorcycle helmet, or a bandana covering the lower part of your face, or a hoodie tied up to obscure your identity, and see how far you get. And for me, this is the key point. It's about equal treatment. People should be free to wear the burqa if they wish, but they need to understand that this limits some of their other freedoms, because the rules on the safety of others still apply. If it's not acceptable to wear a ski mask when you go into your local bank, then it shouldn't be acceptable to wear a burqa.